Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I finally got to try out something I have been dying to do for years. First, we're going to start off with crumb coating our cake. If you need a more detailed explanation, then I suggest you go and check out this video up at the right-hand corner. I am using my usual Italian meringue buttercream, and I am going to actually crumb coat this cake a few times because I really want a pure white. I make sure to refrigerate my cakes at least for 30 minutes between coats. This is going to be my final coat, so it's really important that I get a lot of coverage with my frosting. I am laying the frosting on fairly thick because the more you lay it on, the easier it's going to be to just kind of scrape off what you don't need. If you don't cover every inch of the cake, then you're going to get little gaps and holes. So you really want to make sure that you cover every single part. I always struggle with making sure that the bottom of my cake is covered. So I'm really paying close attention, making sure that I am directing my spatula all the way down to the bottom. I learned this method from my friend Rachel. You hold your bench scraper in place and then you just kind of do one big turn and that's it. It's pretty perfect looking. There are one or two gaps, but no big deal because we're going to cover it with buttercream anyway. I'm mixing up this maroony type color and I'm going to be using some of those pearls. I just left this part in to show you how easy it is to scrape off any mistakes that you might make. Right now I'm deciding to start with the greenery instead of starting with that flower like I just did, and I'm really just using my little mini spatula to kind of finesse things in the direction that I think that they should go in. When I was doing this technique, it kind of reminded me of just painting. It's just that the medium that you're using is a lot thicker. It's almost like you're painting with thickened paint. I'm using a petal tip to apply these petals, but honestly, you could just use a round tip since you're going to be using your little spatula to kind of put your buttercream where it needs to go anyway. To add some color, I'm just taking my little spatula, dipping it into that color that I prepared earlier, and then swiping it through. You really don't need a piping bag at all for this part of the tutorial if you don't want to. See how I'm placing on that green frosting? You could pretty much do the same thing for the petals as well. The only reason why I'm using a petal tip with this is because I'm also going to do some buttercream roses afterward. There's also not a specific flower or leaf type that I'm making. I'm just kind of making an abstract version of whatever flower and leaf pops into my head. You can get super creative with this technique. I'm kind of going in a vintagey direction today, but you could honestly make this super poppy and bright and modern as well. When you want to layer your buttercream but you're finding it's all mushing together, the best thing to do is to stick it in the fridge for another 20 to 30 minutes until everything hardens, and then you can add layers on top really easily. For some added definition, I just stuck my little spatula right into the edible food gel and I'm sticking it onto the flowers. I think you could also do a lot more with this technique if you had spatulas that were different. There are some that are pointed, some that are flat, and some that have a nice little curve so that you're not having such awkward hand positions. In order to add some context to these petals, instead of making it all abstract, I am adding some 5-petal flowers, which just make it really clear that you are making beautiful flowers. I'm also adding on some golden pearls. This is my absolute favorite way to do a buttercream rose. I don't have to deal with transferring the flour at all. It just goes directly on the cake. And I'm leaving this in real time so you can see how you do it very, very easily. Add those finishing touches. To keep this more realistic looking, you could just avoid adding the pearls and instead add buttercream centers. I like a glam moment though. This is going to be a graduation cake, so I'm going to add a little bit of bling to this as well. I'm also going to be adding a hat to this later on, but I'm just going to leave the cake like this as is. This little border that I'm adding on at the bottom is just some ribbon that I found at the dollar store. I love it because you can section it off and cut whatever you need. I think this buttercream cake is one of my most favorite buttercream cakes that I have ever made. It's a great alternative for those who really do not like fondant. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love engaging with you. Bye!